So today I wanted you guys to try and figure out how much of your monthly payment goes towards interest and how much of it goes towards principal or the money you actually borrowed. So when you start making these payments, your a certain portion of it that it kind of goes in different directions. Like you make your payment of $700, it might be $500 goes towards the interest of your loan and $200 goes towards the loan. Or there's also other things that factor in there, but we're going to focus on just the principal and the interest, how much of your payment goes in each direction. So what we're going to do is we're going to calculate how much of our payment goes towards interest. And then if we subtract that off of our payment, the rest of it is how much goes towards the actual loan. Okay. And every single month, you owe the bank a little less money. So this calculation gets done after you make every single payment. So you know the next month, kind of the same thing. A certain amount's going to go towards interest, a certain amount's going to go to principal. And that changes every single month because you keep chipping away at that principal that you borrowed and you owe a little less every single month. Okay. The math is actually really straightforward on this. We've got a percentage calculation, and then the rest of it's just subtraction. So it should be okay. So it's called allocation, like you're allocating a certain portion towards this and a certain portion towards this. If you do what's called an escrow to pay your property taxes, which I do, a certain amount goes towards something else and your insurance, and that money can kind of go in a bunch of different directions. But we're going to focus on the actual loan, how much money goes towards that, and how much money goes to the interest that the bank collects. Okay, so all the other stuff we can just kind of ignore. All right, so you need to be able to calculate the interest on a loan. So that is this really straightforward principle here, or formula here. Why is that white? We're going to take the interest. To calculate the interest, we're going to take the principal, what we borrowed, times our interest rate, whatever we borrowed it at, like 8% or 5.5%, whatever that is, times time. Now, since we're doing this calculation for a single month, our time is going to be 1/12 because there are 12 months in a year and we're calculating for 1 month. Okay. We've done this before calculating 1 month's interest, but not on a loan this big. Okay, so our formula is going to be tweaked a little bit, and we're going to do principal times rate times 1/12. Or if your calculator doesn't do fractions, you can just divide by 12 instead of multiplying by 1/12. It'll work out the same. That's actually what I do because it's a couple less keystrokes. All right, then to figure out how much goes to the principal, you take your monthly payment and subtract that interest amount. And then your new principal is going to be what you owed previously minus what you just paid to the principal. We're going to do two examples of this. You guys will see it's not that tedious. It's just a little steps. All right, so Rod and Carrie obtained a 30-year, $280,000 mortgage loan from State Bank and Trust. The interest rate is 8%. That's important. The monthly payment is $2,055.20. So their interest, like let's just assume this is their first payment ever. They borrowed $280,000. So $280,000 times our interest rate of 0.08 times 1/12, or like I said, I just divide by 12 at the end there. So that is going to calculate our interest. Our interest is $1,386.67 when you round. Okay, that is the interest. Now remember, I said part of your payment goes towards the bank for the interest, part of your payment goes towards the bank for the principal. The principal is what you borrowed. So if their payment is $2,055.20 and $1,386.67 of that went to interest, the difference would go towards the principal. So only $668.53 goes towards the principal. Now, what's happening here? Banks kind of get their interest up front. They charge you more interest because your principal's bigger at the beginning of it. The more you pay and pay and pay and pay, your interest, the part of your payment that goes towards interest will be less and less and less, and the part that goes to the principal will be more and more and more. because those payments stay exactly the same every single month. If one thing goes up, the other one has to go down and back and forth so that the payment still stays at $2,055.20 in this case. All right, so their new principal is the $280,000 that they borrowed minus this little drop in the bucket of $668.53. So if we were to do this for a second month, they would owe $279,331.47. Okay, so kind of imagine if I were to say, okay, now let's do this for another month. You would start again at the very top part of this. You would take $279,331.47 times 0.08 times 1/12 and just kind of start the process over, changing this number out because now we owe a little bit less to the bank. Now that principal amount gets smaller very, very, very slowly. Okay, it kind of sucks, but that's just the way it is. Okay, the majority of your payment will go towards interest for quite a while. And then when you get towards the end of it, you'll start paying off more principal, less interest, and it's just kind of the way it goes. All right, let's do another one real quick. Jack and Jill obtained a 25-year to $125,000 mortgage from Bank and Trust. Interest rate is 7%. Monthly payment is $883.75. So first payment, we're going to calculate the interest on the first payment. So that is $125,000 times 0.07 times 1/12 because it's just the first month. So that first month they're paying $729.17 in interest. So for the principal, you take the payment minus the interest. So $883.75 minus $729.17. Their principal is only $154.58. So to get their new principal, because now they owe $154 or whatever less, you take the original principal and you subtract off the $154.58. Their new principal after that first month is $124,845.42. Okay. When you buy a house, and this was something that I didn't know until it happened the first time, you get a sheet called an amortization schedule that lists every single payment that you're scheduled to pay on your home. It lists the due date. It tells you how much goes towards interest and how much goes towards principal. If at all possible, I make extra payment on my mortgage. I pay, like, if my mortgage is $883, if I can swing it, I might pay $1,000 every single month because that extra money goes straight to the principal. You don't have to pay interest on it. So it's just something to think about. The quicker you can chip away on that principal, the better off you're going to be in the long run.